Hey everybody, my name is Ivica. Thank you so much for joining me on my latest episode of I'm Gaming Podcast. This is a podcast about the video game industry, entrepreneurship, gaming nostalgia, and many more cool things I find to be in the same realm of business and creative ventures, including posts on X, formerly known as Twitter. Now, before I get into all of that, or more precisely into this episode, which showcases how my post on X ended up in a PC Gamer article and some other publications as well just a few days ago, I would like to say a big thanks to all of my Patreon supporters. You really make this podcast possible. Thank you for being here, thank you for supporting me, and thank you for continuing to support me. I truly and really appreciate it. So a big thanks to all of you once again. Now, in this episode, like I said, I'm talking about a post on X. We would call that in the olden days a tweet on Twitter, where I compared Palworld and Helldivers to Steam stats using SteamDB, and I showcased that both games have a drastically smaller gaming audience than they did at their heyday. That was around 6 months ago or something like that, maybe even a bit more. And I stated that in my view this is kind of a showcase of the age of meme gaming, where anything kind of has their moment in the spotlight that's really short and you're simply looking to burn as brightly and as intensely as you can, knowing that no matter what, that burn is not going to last a long time. Now, one of the community managers from Palworld saw this and responded, quoting me, and that produced a storm of X posts. Most of them, a wide majority of them, didn't agree with me because they believed that I was stating that both games are burnt up in the sense that they are no longer interesting, valid, or whatever. That wasn't my point, but I wasn't able or willing to kind of get into a range of arguments. A lot of course, posts were simply intrusive or derogatory or mean, so I wouldn't answer to those anyway, but I didn't want to answer to even those that were pretty sensible because there was no point. Everything was moving so fast and so quickly that response and retweets and requotes or quotes just continued to stack up and up. Right now the same post has nearly 750,000 views, so it's 740 something thousand views, which is pretty a lot considering that I don't have a huge presence on X, but of course the retweet from the community manager in Palworld did the trick, and most of the kind of comments came from Palworld players. Again, my point was to kind of point out that both games at that particular moment had nearly identical stats, so playing right now is around 27,000 players, and 24-hour peak is also very similar. It's around 40k, and everyone else basically saw the descending trend line, which then started discussions about the long tail or long tail sales in the statistics of any kind of game, which is also normal and stuff like that. But again, I didn't kind of get into any arguments or anything like that. I simply responded to the community manager of Palworld saying that hey, all is good, because I got a sense that it wasn't all good, but I wanted to kind of point out that I didn't want to offend or kind of make fun of anybody, including any games. But it didn't work actually. Stuff just continued moving on and on and on, and it ended up in an article in PC Gamer and Radar Gaming, which kind of also discussed the idea behind Games Radar, actually, sorry, PC Gamer and Games Radar. It discussed the idea of kind of looking at stats, what does it mean, and other elements of all of this, which wasn't actually my point. But again, I'm present on Twitter since 2008. I've been working in the game industry since 2014. I have plenty of experience knowing that at some point there is kind of no sense or purpose in entering long winding discussions with people that you already kind of unintentionally, in my case, offended by the initial post. A lot of them simply stated, hey, shouldn't look at this at all, which I completely disagree with it, and a lot of simply understood this as some kind of a like happy lamentation of games going out of business, which is clearly not happening. I didn't want to even suggest that, but that's what people saw, because in general people are pretty territorial about the games they like, and when they get that sense that something is kind of amiss in terms of the attention they're getting, they are pretty quickly up in arms with it. Of course, not everyone, and majority of people that responded to me in kind of a offensive way, I'm guessing they just wanted to offend somebody, and they do it all of the time, and that's okay, but it didn't kind of ended up bothering me at all. But it's pretty interesting that PC Gamer and Games Radar picked it up and kind of created articles about it. And I believe at the end of the day, it's important to discuss things related to the games, even if somebody playing those games doesn't want to discuss them, or doesn't think they're relevant, or if they find that your opinion is stupid, dumb, and that you're an idiot. It's still kind of important to do it, because hey, the basis of any modern society is that ability and need and want to communicate and discuss. Of course, now the immediate question is, why did I didn't go into discussions and arguments with people that wrote to me? Well, at some point there were simply too many responses to be kind of processed, but at the start I already kind of have that sense of people saying, hey, you're stupid, let me tell you why you're stupid, want to kind of argue and get even stupider. And I was again on the internet with my face, with my name for a long time, knowing that I'm not that guy, I'm not the person to kind of get into stuff like that, because ultimately it doesn't give me anything, and the other person ultimately doesn't look for anything in terms of information, ideas. They're basically there to have fun in a kind of way they're used to, which is kind of, let's argue online, which I also do, but in the context of things that are interesting to me, and this wasn't that interesting, so I kind of let it pass completely. However, it's still interesting to have a tweet that is nearly 1 million views enabled and have so many replies and references to kind of an idea that I had. I'm still interested in kind of continuing to think and develop the concept of age of meme gaming and what could it entail, so I might work on that later on. But in any case, big thanks to the Palworld and Helldivers 2 community for helping the world, and then PC Gamer Games Radar. Check out my tweet or my post on X. So a big thanks to all of you and a lot of love. I'm sending it, internet love of course, your way, all the way. That's it for this episode. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for listening about my amazing adventures on X. If you'd like to support me, if you'd like to buy my books on Amazon, especially my latest book, which is called The Sons of 901, please check them out in the link in the description below. You can check out the tweet, of course, itself as well. You can follow me on X, and you can become my Patreon supporter, which would be amazing, and thank you so much if you do. However, the cheapest, easiest, fastest way to support me is to subscribe to my channel and be here for my new videos. That's all from me. Thanks again for being here. Thanks again to everyone who commented, liked, shared, and did anything with my post on X. My name is Ivica. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you in precisely 7 days from now. Until then, bye bye.